Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick run through of the Magento backend, and so you can kind of see how it relates to your site, how your products get organized, and all that. Um, so let's start with the site from the front end. So if you look at the basic structure of the site, it's basically comprised of product categories. So it automatically creates a drop-down menu and navigation based on the categories that you choose for your products and the hierarchy therein. So, within paddles and bags, I have the different types of paddles as well as paddle bags. With apparel, men's apparel, women's apparel, gloves, unisex things, I've chosen those products will go in both of these categories. So, um, that's kind of how these things get built. If I go in a little further, we'll click on men's apparel. Um, so, basically the site shows up in a grid like this. It shows the image that you've chosen as your front favorite image. If you mouse over, it shows you the next image in the list. Prices shown, obviously. If there's a discounted price, it shows you the original price. Um, the customer has the ability to add the cart, add it to their wish list, or compare products. They can choose how many products they can view in one screen. They can also choose list view, so they can look at everything, with a little more information. They can also sort by name and price. Another thing to note on the home page, on the bottom, you have your manufacturers. So here are the logos of all these different manufacturers. I'll just click on one of them, so you can see it takes you to um, products that match that manufacturer. So if I click into a product, you'll notice a couple things. One, you have the mouse over here, um, availability in stock. Uh, Out of the gate, I do not have any inventory controls set on the products. So basically, I'm saying don't manage inventory. Until you go in and add your inventory, obviously that's going to be pretty worthless. So for right now, pretty much everything's in stock, and that's the way it is. Um, this particular item has a custom option, size. So I have the sizes here. And once I have the sizes, I can add them to my cart. If the custom options uh, create a cost change, it's reflected immediately. The price is active. Um, so if I want to add an item to my cart, you'll see you get a little confirmation. Um, if I want to add 10 items to my cart, I put a maximum quantity of 5 for everything on the site. Um, Obviously, this can change per item or globally, um, but I felt like it's a good way to start, just for the sake of getting control of the shipping and kind of seeing how orders come in, and just kind of getting a handle on that. Obviously, that can be changed later on as needs change, or if you feel you have a pretty good handle on quantities and shipping and all that, then by all means let people buy 100 of something. But for now, I just have it set to 5, so you launch with a controlled situation. If we look at your paddles, so we have some more custom options here. Again, you'll see the price change once I select something that causes a price increase. Grip styles, inches, all that stuff. Um, so that's that. So that's kind of how the front end operates. If I go to my cart, you'll see here's the shorts I added. I can make modifications here if I want to. If I have a coupon code, I can apply it here and see my new subtotal. I can look at shipping. So uh, I'm in New York. I'm gonna put in my zip code and get a quote. Okay, so standard domestic shipping table rate, $9. So if I update my total, now I can see the total with the shipping quote. So how does this all work on the back end? The Magento backend can be quite, I don't know what the word is, robust perhaps, and I'm going to give you some pointers. For the most part, stay out of everything in system, because if you start going in here and tinkering with too much, you can have kind of rolling, kind of bigger effects on the site than you thought. I'd say once you're kind of more comfortable with Magento and you kind of know how things work, um, then by all means go in here and do things. But just word of caution: configuration changes can have unintended consequences. So if you know it in and out, no problem. But there are some weird gotchas. So. But some of the most common things, like these general things right here, are things you might change, as well as catalog. Some of the catalog settings are things you might want to change. For instance, do you want to allow people to write reviews, product alerts, some price options, catalog search options, things like that. Even inventory here, you can make inventory changes. So they can, for example, if you're managing inventory and an item is out of stock, do you want to hide it or do you still want to show it? Things like that are in here. Minimum quantities for orders, maximum quantity. That's where I've set 5 for the entire site. So, um, so that's kind of where all that stuff lives. Um, but I'm going to spend a little more time over in the catalog. So really, you start out with categories. So I've created all of the categories here. As you can see, we have default is your site. Everything goes under default. So we have paddles and bags. We have all these different categories, apparel, and you can kind of see them. So if you have to add a category or change something, um, you can just click on apparel. I could add a new subcategory called, like, you know hats. I'll make it active. Um, Save category. And now there'll be a category called hats that shows up in my navigation menu and all that. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So beyond that, if we go into products, because each product has to belong in a category to be seen on the site. So here are all your products. Um, and if you look at these, I'm going to click into one here. So when I put this together, I basically did a lot of copying and pasting from the other site, with the exception of, I used the new um, product SKUs that Heather had provided. Um, so if I want to go in here and edit this, by default it shows raw HTML here, which if that's your thing, that's cool. It's certainly my thing, but you can also use the WYSIWYG editor, which brings up a more kind of familiar interface here for you to use. And once you've done that, it converts it into HTML and it shows up here. So you see SKU, each product has to have a unique SKU, which Heather is so nice to provide. Status, so every product is disabled by default, so you want to go ahead and enable it if you want it to show up in your store rather. Visibility, catalog search, that's fine. A couple other things here, that you can do. Manufacturer, if it's a product that you want, it would fall under like those brands that I showed you on the main page. You want to select the manufacturer right here. If it's something that you only have one of, like whatever, something small that the manufacturer doesn't really matter, you can just leave it blank. It's not a required field. Required fields have the little star next to them. Some of them are required by the system itself. You can't make them unrequired. Some of them are required because I said they're required. So I did add a field here called free ship, and we'll get to this later when I show you shipping. But basically, if there's a product you want to just not impact shipping at all, so let's say like it's uh, something really small and light and cheap, and people would never ever pay shipping for it because it's ridiculous. And I think you had a couple items on there. I think what the sex wax and a couple other things, tape. You just select it to free ship, and it will ship free within the United States based on a shipping rule I made. We'll get to shipping rules later, but I added this attribute here because I thought that'd be a really easy way for you to say, hey, I'm not going to charge for shipping. I could add one of these to basically any box, and it's not going to impact the shipping costs. So like, let's not even think about it. So you'll notice over on the left, there's a whole bunch of categories here. Prices. So obviously, this is where I'm putting the price. The price is required, $40. If I wanted to do a special price, I just put that right here, and I can choose what dates that special price is applies to. For these PFDs, I noticed that you can get like a bulk discount if you order 5. So I added a tier price for this one. So if you look, customer group, all groups, they get a quantity of 5 and above. You get $38 per unit instead of 40. And I did that. I got that number by doing a little bit of division. So that's that. So if somebody puts 5 of these into their cart, they're going to see that discount. Tax class, required field, taxable goods. You can change tax information as needed, but I've set them all to taxable goods for the time being. Meta information, if you want to put keywords and a description for this product page on the site, you can certainly add those. Images. So if you roll over, you'll get to see the images. You can set the order the images appear right here. So you want to select one image that's your main product image. And you do that by just clicking these 3 little things for the image. And then, of course, you hit save. Now, if you want to add an image, you just browse files. I'm just going to put a random image up there. And then you hit upload. You can select as many as you want there. And then you'll see it's added this image here. I can roll over it. This has absolutely nothing to do with your site, obviously, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So if you hit the save button when you're in a product, it will take you out to the product listing, like the list of all your products. If you hit save and continue edit, it saves it and keeps you right where you are. So I'm going to keep going down the list here. Gift options, if you want to do gift messages or whatever. I don't think you guys are getting into that. Right now I have manage stock as no. If I were to manage the stock, I simply edit how many I have here, and then I can just check whatever options I would want here. Typically this would be stuff that was set globally. You usually wouldn't want, but you could allow for back orders and things like that. So just FYI, that's where that is. Once you decide you want to start managing the inventory and doing all that. Of course, when somebody buys something, it deducts from your inventory and etc. Categories. So here's where I choose what category or categories this item falls in. And typically what I'll do, like for example, if this was a men's apparel, I would check men's apparel and apparel. That way, if I click just the apparel level of my catalog, I see everything. I would see all the apparel. This item is accessories. Related products, so I can choose products that are related and they'll show up on the site. So, sometimes if you don't see products here, you just hit reset filter. So this is a PFD, so maybe I would want to show the other PFD that you offer as a related product. So I'm just going to check that and save and continue. So now that'll show up on the site as a related product. You can upsell things, so you can try to sell something else. Cross sells, I believe, is things that show up right when you're about to check out. That they're like, hey, you forgot to add this to your order. Do you want it? So product reviews. Here you'd be able to manage reviews that come in. You could you can look at pending reviews. Most sites don't allow reviews to go live on the website right away. So they would kind of accumulate here, and you can go in and you could set them to, approved or pending or whatever you need to do. Product tags, kind of self-explanatory. You can add tags for the product. You can also allow customers to add tags if you'd like. Probably not a bad idea because different people look at things different ways. Custom options. So this is where you start building the custom options for the product. So the only custom option for this PFD is color. So you'll see I have color, input types. I did a drop down and it's required. So you have to pick a color. So and then I can add rows if I wanted to. Oh, I had a typo. We'll fix that. If I wanted to add a brown one, and if the brown was $6 extra, I just put $6 here. So it'll add $6 to the product price if somebody selects brown. And I can change the sort order here. If I wanted to add a different SKU for that, I could. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. So that's basically how you create and edit a product. You can add different attributes if you want to the attribute set. The basics are here. So that's how that works. So, and again, here's all your products. You can change attributes for them. Like if I wanted to say, if I wanted to select all the gloves, for example, here they are. So I can go to Actions, Update Attributes. So I can make site-wide changes to the gloves. So I could do, I could add the keywords for all the gloves here. I could pull gloves from the site. I could do all kinds of things. I could say all gloves are free shipping right now. So you kind of have those options, so you don't have to do them one by one. So that's kind of how the products work. I know I'm going really quickly through it, but that's how that works. So shipping. Shipping, I think I have a pretty good handle on it. And obviously you're going to continue to tweak it and you're going to learn from mistakes and etc. But basically I had to make use of 2 extensions to get the shipping to kind of do what you guys need it to do. So those extensions live under the sales dropdown. Shipping table rates is the first extension. So what this does is it creates just a table of shipping rates for products based on location, how many items, weight, whatever I choose. To get the ball rolling, I've created basically 2 methods: domestic shipping and international shipping. Now, you might have others that you want to add. For instance, Australia, Canada, things might, you'll have the ability to do that. So I'm going to just click into standard domestic here and take a look at what this is. So you'll notice it's active. It's, default store, default customer, all customer groups. If I go to methods and rates, this was a real easy one. So country, United States, states all, city zips, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about any price, any weight, any quantity. But here's basically what I'm saying here. The base rate for any product is $5. And for every extra product that's added, I add $3. For every product that's added, it's $3. So based on this, without any other rules applying, if I order anything from the site that I haven't marked free shipping, the first product is going to cost me $8 for shipping. If I were to add another product, it's now $11 for shipping, and so on. You can do percentage based, you can do it by weight, but I've kind of kept it simple and just done it this way. So looking at this is a good start, because ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to create shipping rules that apply to products, categories, other attributes that kind of build off of these baseline rules. What these rules accomplish is basically you are going to have something charged for shipping no matter what, unless you've applied some other rule to it. So this kind of covers you in the event that something slips through all other rules. So if I go on and order a PFD, it's going to charge me for that one PFD $8. I don't have any other rules for the PFD. If I said PFDs, there's something special about them. They have to go in a bigger box. So I'm going to have to, for every time a PFD is ordered, I have to add $5 to this base rate. I can create a rule for that. But the base rate has to be there in the event there's no other rule. Same thing goes for international. So I'm just going to go back. So I've set up some basic international rates. And I had to import a file to do this. So because there's like 400 something different countries involved. So as you learn about other countries, maybe Bangladesh is insanely expensive to ship through. You can create you can change these rates. I have the rate right now at $20 no matter what is purchased globally. So, and for every product that's added after that, it's another $5. But again, you're going to create rules that are going to impact that. But as a baseline, if I order a PFD and I am in Japan, it's going to cost me $25 to have that shipped to me. And if I order 2, it's going to cost me $30. So those are the methods and rates on the base kind of table rate. And I think it's going to be, you might have to tweak those numbers a little bit, but I think it's going to work out pretty well. Especially obviously international shipping is going to get a little crazy, and it's almost like you learn from experience. But I think domestically you can get a really good handle on it, and even places like Canada, and if you kind of know a lot about shipping to Australia as well. So I'm going to go back now. So this other thing here is shipping rules. This is another plugin, extension rather, and this thing kind of seals the deal. It gives you the flexibility to do everything you're going to need to do, I think. So domestic paddle shipping, this is the first rule I did. So if I look at this, I had to choose a few things. I'm going to call it paddle domestic. It's active. I had to choose a shipping carrier. Shipping table rates is the shipping character, or shipping carrier. Products. So here's where I say, what products does this rule impact? Well, I've selected if the category is 3. So if I can look at a drop down here. I don't know why it's not showing up. Let me try it again. There they are. So if category is 3, so I just chose, paddles and bags. So if I'm dealing with a paddle and a quantity from 1 to 5, I'm going to apply this rule. I'm going to replace the default table rate values with the values I put here. So if it costs if it costs $19 to ship 1 paddle anywhere in the United States, my base rate is going to be $17, and my fixed rate per product is going to be $2, because that'll give me my $19. If I want to ship a second paddle, it'll be another $2. If I want to ship a third, it'll be another $2. And you can do that with percentages. You can increase handling if you need to, and things like that. You can do minimums and maximums. But here's where you create those rules. Address conditions. This rule applies if the shipping country is in the United States. So you're going to get a different rule if you live in Japan. Stores and customer groups, I just leave this blank because it's going to apply to everyone. So what does this look like in real life? I'm just going to clear my cart so we can look at a paddle. So I'm going to go ahead and add a Merlin to my cart. Now notice it won't just add it. I have to pick some selections here because they are required. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my cart. So I have one paddle, and you'll notice my quote here, standard domestic is $19. It is not what the table rate would have said, which would have been the $8 or $10 or whatever it was. Because it's a paddle, and I've indicated I'm in the United States, it's now using my rule, and that's $19. If I want to buy 3 paddles, I update my shopping cart, you'll notice it's moved it up to $23 because I've added 2 more paddles at $2 a piece. Now, if it costs $3 more to ship another paddle, you go ahead and just change that rule to $3 or $4 or whatever you need to do. So I'm going to go back to my rules here. So paddle international. Now, based on some numbers that have been thrown around, so I'm saying like if category is like any of the paddle categories, I'm going to replace the international shipping table rates with it's going to cost $57 to ship a paddle internationally. For every other paddle, it's going to cost $4 more, assuming I can go up to 5 in a box internationally. So you might have to tinker with these a little bit to get the numbers right, but it's going to give you that flexibility. Now, let's say Canada, let's say you can ship anywhere in Canada for a different rate than these kind of fail-safe international shipping rates for paddles. You simply build another rule called like Paddle Canada, and then it will give them that rule when they choose that it's being shipped to Canada when they get their shipping quote. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility here. Free ship domestic. What's this rule all about? Now remember, I had the free shipping attribute in the products. So if we go here, you'll see products. If free ship is yes, the rate is 0. So it will not impact shipping if combined with other things. And if I buy just this item, it will be 0. So we'll take a look at that. I'm gonna nix my my Merlin from the shopping cart. I'm gonna go ahead and add this sex wax. So if I look at my cart, you'll notice shipping in standard domestic 0. It's free. And it doesn't matter if I order 4 of them. It's still free. Now, you could change that rule to where, it's free, but if you want like 4 of them, it's going to cost you $2 or something. I mean, you could change that rule. But right now, this gives you the ability to not have to charge somebody to drop, one of these things in the mail. So, apparel, it seems like something that would be kind of cheap to mail. So I do have a rule for apparel, like clothing. So it's $8 for clothing, but then it's $1 for if I want to buy 5 pairs of shorts, it's $8, and then baseline it's $1 for every pair I order. That way, people, something that's light like a pair of shorts or whatever isn't going to run up the cost like you would with your standard table rate shipping. So you can really tweak this right down to the product, to the country. I mean, you can do it as much as you want. You have complete control now over how much it costs to ship something somewhere. So, and you, again, I like fixed rates. I don't like calculating based on weight or whatever, because you have, especially with the paddles and everything, you have size to deal with, you have certain sizes of boxes. So because you've controlled that situation, you have a really good handle on knowing what it's going to cost to ship something somewhere and how you're going to avoid, losing on shipping. So I think this type of rule based method, in addition to the standard table rates. So what would be a table rate shipping? So I'm going to add a paddle bag because I have no rules for paddle bags. So this paddle bag, I'm going to add it to my cart. So if you look, my standard rule applies now. So um, it's going to cost me $8 to ship this paddle bag and this sex wax to my address. So so you can see if I want 2 paddles, it's going to use the standard table rate. You'll see it's added it up to 11, so it added another $3. So I think this is going to work out really well. Obviously, you'll be creating some rules, tweaking things, but um, you'll have the capability to tame the shipping situation in a way that you haven't really had before. Um, so I think that's a good intro to like the main kind of things you'll use all the time in Magento. You can kind of play around. Orders is kind of self-explanatory. You can take a look at orders. You can see statuses, all this stuff, options. You can communicate with people through the system. You can send emails. You can hold orders. You can invoice people. You can ship. When you ship, you can go in here, add a tracking number. They'll be able to log in, check the tracking. They'll get notified that tracking's been added. So all that stuff is in there. If you take orders over the phone, you can just create a new order. So you can use an existing customer or create a new customer. I'm going to just use my existing customer here. And then you can kind of just build an order here, for them. Take their credit card number over the phone, put it right in a payment method here, and then that's that. The other cool thing too, if you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can see what's in their wish list. You can see what they've ordered before. You can see what's in their shopping cart. You can see what products they've compared, recently viewed products, stuff like that. So you have a little insider knowledge to kind of push a sale. But I think that's a good place to stop. I think that's enough to kind of get you to poke around and start maybe tweaking some of these shipping rules a little bit. And I'm going to go to Florida. So I'll be sending this video to you with your login information in a little bit. And, get in and play around. Don't break anything. But I think, man, we're going to be in such better shape than what's going now. I think this is gonna do the trick for you. So we will stop it here.